Good evening. It's 7:30, and so I herewith call to order the November 29, 2017 meeting of the City of Gaithersburg's Historic District Commission. And I'd like to begin with a roll call. May I start on my left, please?
Frank Johnson.
Greg Mann.
Mark Feinstein.
Mary Jo LaFRANCE.
Chris KIRTZ.
John Roddy. Dean Ventola.
Robert Love.
Chris Berger.
Well, we have a quorum, and let me read the authority under which we're operating here tonight. The Commission is empowered to meet and act under Article 12 of the City Code of Gaithersburg. The technical qualifications of the staff of this commission and the members of this commission are on file with the City of Gaithersburg, are available on request to any applicant, and are hereby made a part of the legal record of each and every application heard this evening. Each application heard is considered on its own merits and not to be considered as establishing a precedent for any other application. So I'd like to start with approval of the minutes of October 25th. Have folks had a chance to look at them?
Yes.
Any comments, concerns,
Nope.
edits?
Nope.
Okay, chair's open to a motion to adopt the
So moved.
minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right. Our substantive item of business tonight is a demolition permit, and I do want to call, I know we're going to have a staff presentation. I believe the city representatives are here tonight, but I do want to check for conflicts of interest.
I would like to raise a point. I have lived around the corner from this the subject property for 42 years, and over that period of time, it has been before the mayor and council and the planning commission probably a dozen and a half times for land use issues, and I have appeared, testified, argued on one side or the other during this period. Well, I don't doubt that I could impartially weigh the matters here. I think the appearance of impropriety is significant, and I think it's very important that if the citizenry doubts the impartiality of this body, it hurts not only this body but the city in general. So I will recuse myself, take my place in the gallery as a private citizen, and feel free to heckle you during your discussions.
I will, well, first, thanks for your integrity in the matter, and second, I'll be disappointed if you don't heckle me. Chris, have we a staff presentation?
Yes, we do. The residential building at 305 South Frederick Avenue is a one-story ranch building that was constructed circa 1952. It is not a designated historic property, either individually or as part of a district. It was recently acquired by the city, who seeks to demolish the property in anticipation of future redevelopment of the parcel and those parcels that are adjacent to it. The property is Zone CD, Corridor Development. Demolition permit comes before the HDC in accordance with Section 24-231 of the City Code, which requires buildings slated for demolition that are more than 50 years old to be reviewed by the HDC for architectural and/or historic importance in accordance with Section 24-226. The HDC has two options tonight. It can either direct the city manager to issue the demolition permit, or if the building has the reasonable probability of being historically designated, it can direct the city manager to withhold issuance of the demo permit for up to 6 months. Here's the plat for the property. The building measures approximately 1,250 square feet and is located on a 1.18 acre property. Here's another view of the front facade along South Frederick Avenue. And here is a view of the rear facade. As you can see, all the windows and doors have been replaced over time. Here's another view of the rear facade and the west elevation. And here's to show that the original wood vertical plank siding has been covered up in favor of vinyl siding. And here are some interior shots. The historic preservation element of the 2003 Gaithersburg Master Plan, which was adopted in 2007, does not list 305 South Frederick Avenue as a resource of note. So in staff's opinion, the building lacks architectural and historic significance. Do we have any questions?
Well, I have one. Is there anybody representing the applicant tonight, or?
We have Melanie Brown, who's a Public Works Project Manager, is in the audience if anyone has any questions.
Okay. And Melanie, I just want to, if there's, you do not have to at all, but if there is anything you'd like to say, we want to afford you that opportunity.
No, it's pretty straightforward. It's slab on grade, no basement, vacant property. There's nothing in the building, so.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, just by way of clarity for who's participating and who's not, you usually would probably want to specify that your alternate then will be taking part in your discussion because of the Mr. Roddy's recusal.
Thank you very much.
I'll just say that for
Yes.
the record. Don't mean to interrupt any discussion. but
No, very well said.
Just
So,
by way of clarity.
Robert, you're out of the, you're at bat. You're out of the, you're out of the ready circle. Well, thank you, Frank, for that reminder.
Sure.
So thanks, Melanie. No, it does, they have a saying in the law, res ipsa loquitur, the thing speaks for itself, which this thing pretty much does. Is there anybody in the audience who wishes to speak? I see a hand trembling back there. Who could it be? Come on up, sir.
My name is John Roddy. I live at 105 South Summit Avenue, and I address you this evening as a private citizen. The subject property is a victim of the widening of 355 about a quarter of a century ago. And the nature of the residential quality of the property and the traffic have changed radically over the years, and certainly very radically over the last 5 years. One of the 5 properties on that block has already been demolished. I understand the city owns at least 2 that are presently standing. The application is for one of those 2. The planning staff has told me they have no definite plans for these properties at this moment. And I'd read from you an email I received from the planning staff just the other day. When I asked them that question, they said they had nothing definitive. The city has acquired properties to eliminate blight and consolidate a few small parcels. The properties are shallow, so no single large user could fit. Stormwater management, parking, forest conservation, etc. would eat up a lot of the land. Eventually, we'll probably issue a request for proposals and see what comes in. This evening, I wish to tell you that I have no objection to the grant of the application. I don't believe the property is historic in any way. And actually, the grant of the application may go a long way toward public safety and alleviating housing blight.
Great.
Any questions?
Thank you very much, sir. Okay. Thank you. All right. Mark, let me start with you.
I actually have no issues with approving the demolition. Yeah, I don't see anything that's historically significant with the structure, and I agree with Mr. Roddy that the nature of the residential quality of the housing along 355 has drastically changed over time, so it's lost all its context.
Although the trees aren't before us this evening, that would be something I would have a concern about later when the property may be developed. But at this time, I don't see anything historically important or relevant about this particular property.
Thank you. Dean?
Thank you. I have absolutely no concern of demolishing this building. When I saw the information on it, I thought that, to me, this was easy. Finally get an easy one. So I have no concerns on that. But Chris, could you do me a favor and put up the application, I guess your document with page 1 that I guess shows the applicant. 2 minor things. Okay, great. This shows the applicant as BS Environmental Incorporated. The city owns the property from what I understand, so I find it to be, I guess, just big picture issue, questionable to have someone who is not the owner being granted a demolition. So what I request is, or suggest, is that this says BS Environmental Incorporated on behalf of the city. Then next and last is on page 3, if you can go to that.
3 of the report?
Of your document, yes, of your report. Perfect. It'll be also in your report. Can you adjust that as well? But can you tell me roughly what month the city bought the property?
It was October, also last month.
Perfect. Okay, so here's what I'll request. If you go to page 6, you don't have to turn to it now, the plat states that the property is owned by another entity. It clearly says this property is now in the name of. So what I'd like, and I know that's old and you have to have the plat before you purchase the land, but what I'd like you to do is on page 3, just simply say that it's the last sentence in the first paragraph. It says the city of Gaithersburg owns the property. Could you please say as of October 2017?
Okay.
And that would be for record. Anyone who picks this up 5 years from now would understand. Those are my only thoughts.
Excellent.
Okay, thank you, Dean. Robert?
I have no objections with it coming down. I pass it at least once, if not twice a day, every day. It's always kind of been a head scratcher to me. My wife will tell you that I comment almost every day. This house doesn't make any sense. So I'm glad that it's going to be redeveloped into something, anything else. So I'm all for it.
Right.
We do have one question of staff, Chris. I forgot to look it up, but does the master plan talk about this?
The preservation master plan? It does not, no.
Okay, thank you.
Neither the one that is yet to be adopted or the existing 2003 preservation master plan. Neither one mentions this property as a resource of note.
Thank you.
Right. I have no issue with it coming down, and my only thought or something I want to put in for the record is that if there is any material which is salvageable from it, and there may, I mean, some of the flooring looked halfway decent, that whoever demolishes it, we see if that can be somewhat preserved, and we try and find a home for it. And this is going to be a recurrent theme of mine as we looked at some of the new action items in the master plan to come. I think this is something where we can give our attention, and I don't have the mechanics worked out on exactly what would or would not be worth preserving, and if so, where would it be stored? But I just want that point in the record.
Okay.
I believe it's in the condition.
It is?
And
Okay.
the contractor has noted that in most demolition projects, they can retain
Okay.
as much as 80% of the material. So hopefully they can reach that same amount or more with this project.
Excellent.
Okay. Okay, but it doesn't indicate at all what's going to happen. Okay, that's fine. All right. So the chair is open to a motion.
I can make a motion.
Yeah, since you have the
Is
comments.
everybody accepting those 2 extra conditions?
Yes.
Yes, okay. I move that Historic District Commission, based on the exhibits submitted, the applicant's testimony and the staff report, findings and recommendation, make a determination that the building over 50 years old, located at 305 South Frederick Avenue, does not meet the criteria for historic or architectural significance as specified in section 24-226 of the City Code, and does not direct the city manager to withhold issuance of demo number 15392-2017 with 3 conditions. Condition number 1, the applicant shall have all salvageable building materials and appliances removed before demolition. Number 2, applicant I'm sorry, the staff report shall update the applicant as being represented on behalf of the city. And number 3, in the staff report, the date that the city obtained possession should be noted.
If I could jump in real quick, those last 2 conditions you added, I don't know if they necessarily need to be conditions of the approval. I think the record clearly states that the changes that need to be made.
I would agree with that.
So I think if you're comfortable with it, I think we can keep the 1 condition.
But is there any harm just updating the report?
The report does
But it will
indicate that it was
city owns
acquired
it.
in 2017.
Yeah, we can update the
October.
report as requested. I just don't know if they need to be conditions of the approval.
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Melanie. Thank you, Mr. Roddy. Staff updates.
Yes, I do have a couple. Since our last meeting, I had the opportunity to attend 2 separate conferences. The first was the Keeping History Above Water Conference, which was in Annapolis. I went to one day of the 4-day conference. And as you know, in Gaithersburg, we don't have to deal much with rising sea levels. And most of our historic resources are located away from water bodies, but nonetheless, we are at risk from extreme weather events. So it's important to prepare to minimize the impact to our historic resources and our ability to bounce back should one of these events occur here. And the other conference I was able to attend was the Past Forward Conference, the National Trust for Historic Preservation's annual conference, which this year was in Chicago. And there were 3 big themes of the conference this year: social equity, technology, and health. And a number of sessions were held related to these 3 themes. Social equity in particular seems to be a prime focus of the National Trust. Last month, you deferred the Kentland Citizens Assembly's windows and door application. They still intend to replace the windows and doors on the front facade, but they were unable to get the application or the materials for the application in before the deadline, so they hope to make the next meeting. And along those lines, we are kind of certain that we will have that Wednesday, December 20th meeting. So thanks to all who responded to my email about your availability. Staff will need to send a draft agenda out, not this Friday, but the following, so we'll know for sure by then. And finally, a reminder that after the meeting tonight, we are going to take your headshots. So please stay after the meeting for that.
Okay. Any commissioners for the good of the order? Or, Greg, did you have something?
If I could just jump in real quick, yeah. Recently, Chris Berger has taken the American Institute Certified Planners exam and passed. That is the national standard for professional planners. So I wanted to give him a congratulations on that.
Yay. Congratulations.
And special thanks to Greg. He passed the same exam last year, and he was very instrumental in providing me guidance. So I don't think I could have done it without him.
So he gave you the answers.
Oh, there you go.
Congratulations to you too.
Congratulations, Greg.
Thank you.
Well done.
And thanks for your support, Greg. Mark, anything?
I have nothing.
Good job. John?
Nope, I'm fine.
All right, I want to say something. I want to thank everybody that attended. We had I represent you in the city on the Maryland Association of Historic District Commissioners. And they wanted to slip something in before the end of the year. And so I live in Washington Grove, and we had an event there, and Chris was there, Frank was there, John Slichting was there, Trudy was there. Who am I forgetting?
We were there.
From the gym.
Yes, of course, I told you. Sorry, guys, it's the half-timers talking. But I hope you had a good time.
It was great.
And I hope you know, even though you're all here, the Grove is not that well known and a very interesting part of the state's history. And so the MHDC was particularly happy to come down this way because a lot of the concentration of its membership and what they do is more northerly in the Frederick and in the Baltimore areas. And a lot of people were very impressed once again to meet Chris, because he has contributed articles, the one in his analysis of the financial impacts of historic designation, and then the other on the restoration of the log house, to the MHDC newsletter, which gives Gaithersburg some press. So Chris, thank you, and I hope those of you who attended got something. Just one last thing, just that my wife Terry had lived in Montgomery Village for many years when we met and were looking for a house, and we had lunch with her son at Roy's, which is no longer, it's now La Taquita, or Los Taquita, and you know, Washington Grove, where is that? So there are people that have lived here most of their lives and may not know where it is or what it is. So that's all I've got. So the chair is open. Anything else from anybody? Chair is open to a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No.
All right.
Thank
This was
you.
quite